Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Preventing Financial Loss, How to Identify Spoofs and Scams webinar that we're hosting in conjunction with Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Today's presentation is brought to you thanks to the SBDC in Maine, the Small Business Development Center, alongside Northern Maine Development Commission. I'm Brandon McDonald. I'm the SBDC Center Director and Business Advisor for Aroostook County. In the past, I was a former IT professional. I worked with making sure that businesses had their software, their networks, everything all set up and ready to go. Long time with being a software developer, and I went to Husson University. So today's goals, we're going to examine and identify spoof emails and websites. We're going to learn how to verify the legitimacy of an organization or a caller. We're going to gain some basic cybersecurity literacy skills in order to prevent some simple cybersecurity threats. So think of this as just really the baseline of preventing cybersecurity issues. And we're going to go through a mock website bank scam along with showing you how easy it is to doctor a website if you give someone access to your computer. So we're going to begin with spoofing. So spoofing is just simply something appearing to be what it is not. So it could be an email, it could be a website, could be really any kind of online interaction. It's become more dangerous than ever, really because of remote work. They're easy to fall for, they're simple to spot, and it usually will scam a user into buying some kind of untraceable currency like a gift card or a Bitcoin. In the past, people would use credit cards, and credit cards are easy to charge back and get the money out of the scammer's hands. So in this case, they're looking for something that's non-traceable and really not easy to pull out of that scammer's hands. And so you'll have maybe Microsoft or the IRS making phone calls. They actually won't call you or email you and ask for any personally identifiable information. So up here, I actually have a couple personal examples that we get here a lot. I have the email scam. Usually it's the task scam, and they'll ask you to purchase a gift card or maybe some cryptocurrency. And so we have it from, well, our director here at NMDC, Bob Clark, except this email is obviously not at nmdc.org. So we talk a little bit about email domains. That's the at domain.org, whether that's at nmdc.org, at mainsbdc.org, at maine.gov. If you're getting something from at gmail.com and it's more of an organization or a government entity, it's probably fake. Sometimes you'll get these during strange hours. We have some overachievers here at NMDC, but I don't think anyone's getting up at 5:27 in the morning to send out emails about quick tasks. Typically, they'll have poor grammar. That's usually because most of these individuals, they have English as a second language. They'll use incorrect grammar, incorrect forms of your. In this case, I'll need you run a quick task. Something feels off. If they're not typically someone who uses poor grammar, that should be a red flag. And then there's the off salutation. So someone who uses a spoof email is going to probably not use the title they have at the organization. So Bob, he goes by Bob, but in this case, it would show he was the executive director at Northern Maine Development Commission. That's missing. And that's something that most scam artists will not take the time to go and add in is the title. Some of them will when it's a more elaborate spoofing scam. So then we talk about websites, and a website really begins with a shady link, right? So instead of going to nmdc.org, you go to maybe freewebs.com / look at all these numbers and Northern Maine Development Commission. So if it doesn't start out with the website you're looking for, .org or .com or .gov, you're probably going into a false website, a spoof. Sometimes you'll see something that's a too good to be true headline, and we'll talk a little bit more about how you can doctor a headline or how someone can make that happen on your end. And by the way, I'm sorry for anyone who expected free ponies today. I wish I could give one, but unfortunately someone doctored that headline, so that's not happening today. So we talk about verifying legitimacy. So no legitimate company is going to call you first and ask you for your bank information via phone. They're not going to ask you for your personally identifying information, your social security number, your shoe size. It's just not going to happen via phone. Sometimes we'll hear that someone will be threatened with jail time or a court case or a lawsuit if they don't comply with an order from a caller who called them first. almost all of the time, this is just not legitimate. See, fraudulent callers and any emails that these fraudulent scammers will give you, they typically have, again, that poor English proficiency and a canned response. That means maybe a copy and paste response. They're ordered to say, hey, here's the situation. The IRS has proof that you've done this crime. And if you ask them questions, it starts becoming a canned response, an automatic feeling response, because really they're just copy and pasting responses. Sometimes when you get a legitimate response, that's when you find out the scam's happening, because you say, wait a minute, that makes no sense at all. That's how you can tell that they're going outside of those canned responses and trying to create a response. Most of the time they'll have an out-of-state zip code. Maybe it'll be an 8 number, so an 866, 800. And when it's an email, it's going to probably come from some kind of outside domain. It's not going to be, again, in the case of the Northern Maine Development Commission, it'll come from @gmail.com, @hotmail.com, @yahoo.com. It'll be an outside domain that's not similar to the organization itself. And that's the dead giveaway that you are just not getting a legitimate email. And typically these callers and the emails, they have caused this feeling of panic or a call to immediate action. So that's, let's say, you must do this right now because your business is in danger. Your search engine is in danger. Your ability to stay out of prison is in danger. If someone causes this feeling of panic, it's typically not legitimate. Whenever you're in doubt, the real driving factor is that you should hang up the phone, you should stop emailing, and you should contact that business directly. In the case of your bank, you're going to check the back of your debit card. You're going to go to their website, so maybe katahdintrust.com, or you'll Google it and make sure it comes out to that website, .com. And ensure that you're going to the actual bank, getting their actual contact information, and contacting them to say, hey, do you need this information from me? Is there anything I can do for you? And most of the time, they'll stomp any kind of fake scam right there. We talk a little bit about passwords, right? So it's just important to use different passwords on each website, as it is to make a password as complex as possible while still being able to remember it. So the key of using different passwords on each website is because if a website is ever compromised, let's say you use the same password on yahoo.com that you use for your bank. If Yahoo's password storage or their databases become hacked and it ends up being leaked, which is put onto some kind of database on a website, really anyone could have access to that. I've had it done to me. Yeah, chances are you've had it done to you at one point. It's important to check to see if your password has been compromised, and if it has, it's a good idea to change it. And really, it's a good idea to get into the mentality of using a different password on different websites, especially if it involves financial transactions. Anything that involves your financial capacity, you really should use a separate password from what you use for social media or emails. You'll use a combination of lowercase, uppercase, special characters, numbers. It just makes it more difficult for someone to hack or guess it. You know, the password, all lowercase, is a lot easier to guess than password with a capital P, a number that you can remember, and maybe an exclamation point or a pound sign at the end. Although I'd probably say not to use the password. Don't store passwords in Word or text files directly on your computer. If someone has access to your network, your files, they're going to be able to view those passwords. Whenever possible, always use multi or two-factor authentication to ensure that you're the only person with the ability to log into any given account. Some people choose not to do this on social media. Fine. Please use it when it's offered to you via a bank. In fact, most banks are requiring it at this point. We're going to talk a little bit about ransom attacks. So a ransom attack is typically caused by clicking maybe an unsafe link, opening a malicious file. It's either a website spoof, which is kind of what I'm showing on the left. It's sometimes fixed by resetting your computer. It's just this big Google Chrome or Internet Explorer website that says, oh, you've been locked. Click here to give us some funding or give us a Bitcoin or some gift cards to get out of that. But sometimes in more serious cases, it's going to be an embedded virus, which is something that's difficult for the average person to remove. You can prevent these by using an email server with active threat monitoring. That's something that an IT professional should definitely go over with you before you end up entering into some kind of email transactions, especially giving out tax returns via email. You should update all your browsers and your operating system for security patches, although sometimes a security patch can revert a past patch. This is where it really helps to have someone in the IT world to tell you, yeah, this is a good time to upgrade. And in this case, maybe you should wait a couple of weeks. The obvious, utilize your antivirus and firewall software. Most people have an embedded firewall by default. Some people have antivirus on their computer by default, something like Windows Defender. Really, it's a good idea to have a little something extra. It's kind of like a little bit of armor for your computer. Don't click those unknown or unsafe links. You should be verifying that legitimacy, what we talked about in the last slide, of any emails, phone calls, or really any kind of contact from an outside source that you're not very comfortable with. We talk about data backup. So backing up your data just makes sure that in the event of a compromise, you have some kind of way to keep your data safe. So in the case of maybe a monthly backup, you'll use an external hard drive, something that's not connected to the computer 24/7, or a cloud backup. That's a on the internet kind of backup in the event of a compromise. You're going to back up those files regularly. You're going to set your system to back them up on a schedule if you can. It's important to prevent this loss due to common hardware failures, defects, and hard drive crashes. And if you're a business, you really should set some kind of data breach plan in place, especially, again, if you have any sensitive documentation, financial transactions, tax returns. Ensure that you've informed your employees what to do in the event of a cyber attack. And really, you should do a little bit of training on what you should and shouldn't be doing via email and on company hours, especially with company equipment. Fake websites. So my top tip, and this is one I use whenever I talk about cybersecurity, when in doubt, use the wrong password on purpose. If you think that you're on a fake website, any kind of fake website, a bank scam, anything like that is actually just going to be a submission form. You're going to put your username and password, and it's going to directly email it or store it with the hacker. Doesn't matter what you put in. So if you think you're at a fake website, use that wrong password on purpose to ensure that, you know, if it goes through that first time, you know you're on a fake website, time to back out. Never use that two-factor authentication code on any website other than the one it's generated for. Sometimes, and this is super rare, maybe you'll eventually get the same 6-digit two-factor authentication code for a different website as you had for a previous website. Maybe that happens within weeks of each other. That's fine. But let's say I'm given a two-factor authentication code for Yahoo, and for some reason, someone's asking me to use that code for my Hotmail or via email. Don't give that code out for any reason. Never let someone you don't trust visit websites or other sensitive locations on your computer without you monitoring them. You should not use TeamViewer, GoToAssist, or any other remote viewing software with someone you don't trust. If you'll give me a second, I'd like to show you a little demonstration on why. So hopefully everyone's able to see this. We're going to move to a different website. This is Next Gen Personal Finance. That is a great simulator for bank accounts. And so I'd like to show you guys just a very simple way that someone could utilize your own computer to change an amount. On any website, someone can do this. Now watch the 7,500 quickly become $750. And this is just what you're seeing. This is not happening on the bank's end. You can change any of these totals to be whatever you'd like. And if you look away from your computer for 1 second, oh boy, there we go, I'm back. I looked away for 1 second and look what happened. You can change anything you want on a website. And if you don't believe me, I'd like to show you Chase. Now, I can go here, and again, this is just on my computer. Again, if I just wanted to black out the screen for 1 second, which I'm not going to do on this, I don't have the capacity on Zoom, but someone on TeamViewer would. Well, look at that. Looks like everyone here is going to be $225 richer. I can change anything on these websites just by using the inspect element, which means if someone has access to your computer, if you allow someone to use it and you go away for a moment, I could change anything in this bank account. And I could tell you that you potentially overpaid me. Maybe you owe me money. I can do anything on this end. And unless you refresh the page, you would have no clue. Going back to the webinar. Here's some of the more recent attacks that have happened over the past couple of years. We had 100,000 demanded from Augusta during a ransom attack in 19. 650,000 people were impacted by the Northern Light health breach in 2020. We had 2 attacks in Holton, Maine in both 15 and 19. We had 2 Aroostook County wastewater plants that had some headaches and some minor shutdowns this year. 4 Maine police departments, that's right, police departments are being impacted by this. And MS-86 had a major ransomware attack in 2019. Really what this means for you is that no one's safe. In fact, as large companies continue to bolster their cybersecurity options, you become a larger target because you don't have the IT staff on board that these larger companies do. So if I was looking to make $5,000, I'm not going to go for the big company as much as I'm going to go for the smaller one who has maybe someone who's going to click an email or answer the phone, or allow me to do the team viewer scam where I could change anything on a website that you're looking at. Here's a couple of resources that I'd like to offer out. So there's the SANS Institute. There's some free cybersecurity resources, training, programs, webinars. You can find them at www.sans.org/free. You'll have CNET, which is kind of I call it unbiased, but really everything online is biased. Scales of antivirus, anti-malware, VPNs, which we didn't talk about too much today, but all of those are good opportunities for you to stay safe while using some kind of online resource, using the internet for your business. And then, of course, there's the FCC. They're a government agency that offers tips to alleviate cybersecurity concerns. And if you ever end up getting any personally identifiable information of a scammer or a hacker, you're probably going to want to report that to an agency like the FCC so that they can investigate. So the Maine SBDC is a wonderful opportunity for those who are interested in confidential, free business advising. You can get connected with your local SBDC advisor no matter what county you're in today by visiting mainesbdc.org and clicking Request Advising in the top right corner. And if you'd like to contact me with any questions, there's my email there. I'd love to chat with you anytime. So thank you for coming to today's webinar. I'm glad to give you some time back today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. You can either leave them in the chat, send an email, or just get in touch with us at the Maine SBDC website, and we'll try to answer as many of those questions as we can. All right, thank you.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't type fast enough. So what you were showing there about the website and when you change that in the Chase website, so are you saying that somebody can do that remotely and be on your, or somebody actually has to be like in your office or something and change it?
So if you go and utilize TeamViewer, which is probably the most common remote assistance platform, if you give me the access to your computer via TeamViewer, I can change any website and you'll see it on your end. So I can be right here. I can log into your computer. You'll have to give me permission to do this. Okay. But if I'm charismatic enough to do it and you let me on your computer, I can change any website to say whatever I'd like. And unless you refresh the page, you would not know that that website was doctored. So TeamViewer is really interesting because I can actually black out the screen. And so you'll say, oh, what's going on? Or I can freeze the screen. So if the screen's frozen, you'll be like, oh, maybe I have an internet problem. Maybe the internet kicked out for a second. And then all of a sudden, bang, you see $225 missing from your account, or $225 if you click here.
Wow.
It's becoming more common. I actually pulled this. I can't take full credit for this. There's a YouTuber I absolutely love. He goes through this through making sure that people understand bank scams. That's his big thing. And essentially, it's very common. You'll get a call. Let me help you fix your computer on TeamViewer. Let me help you fix your business on TeamViewer. And that's immediately when they can take access of your computer and essentially make your computer say whatever they think it needs to say to get you to do that call to action.
Okay. That's pretty scary. All right.
It is.
Thank you.
And I don't want to fearmonger. Don't. TeamViewer is great if you're an IT professional. If you are working with some guys down in Old Port who you've met them in person, you know that they're going to treat you with respect. You've seen them. They have to fix maybe a security update on your computer, and you're like, I got no clue what I'm doing. You take it. If you've entered into a contract with them, or if you trust them, TeamViewer is a great option. It's just when it's someone you don't know, maybe there's no rapport there. You should be extra cautious.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was wild. I feel like we're gonna have to use that clip for other stuff. This is great. Well,
Perfect.
thank
Do we
you
have
very
any others?
much.
Absolutely. It's my
I
pleasure.
don't see any other questions. We did just have someone enter late, but everything's recorded, and I will send out that follow-up email this afternoon that will include the slides and that recording link, and we'll be all set. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you all. Take care.